All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the sixth episode of Split Screen Media. I'm your host, Connor Duros. With me, as always, for these past five wonderful episodes is Chris Blankenship. Say hello to the people.
Hi, everybody.
And our first returning guest to this podcast, the wonderful, the magnificent Joey Burt. How you doing, bud?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you guys invited me back after the first time.
No, we loved you, man. It was a great episode. Yeah, but you are our first returning guest, so this is exciting stuff.
It is an honor. Thank you.
So real quick before we get started, just a couple of quick announcements you guys might find interesting. Wow, I can't talk. All of our podcasts are now available on a bunch of different streaming services. So if you go on, it's Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Do you have the other ones up, Chris? Or
I don't have them up.
I think it's Stitcher. Basically anywhere where you can listen to podcasts, our podcasts are now available.
Radio Public?
Radio Public is one, yeah. And I think there might be one more. I don't know if I said Amazon Music or not, but that's also up there.
Here. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and YouTube.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So basically whatever you guys prefer, you can listen to us however you want. And also last episode, there was some crazy good reception to that one. We're not really sure why, but we really appreciate it. It was funny. It was like our most glitchy and busted episode, I guess, from a technical perspective. But we're really glad you guys liked it, and we hope that we can continue to earn your viewership. But today we're going to talk about something that we never talk about, which is video games. I finally finished Miles Morales, and that review video is probably going to come out pretty soon. Just giving like my full thoughts on it. But one of the main points I was making, or I'm going to make in that video, was that the game is relatively short. I've already 100% of the game and done all the side missions and collectibles, and really the only thing I have left is a couple of PlayStation trophies, which I guess got me thinking about the price of the next generation of video games. So Miles Morales without the Spider-Man remastered game is $50, and then if you get the bundle pack with PlayStation 5, it's $70. And all of the other PlayStation games are going to be $70, and so are the Series X games. And I guess my question to you guys is, what do you think about that? Like, do you think that's justified with sort of the new level of graphics and gameplay we're going to be seeing for the next couple of years with these consoles, or do you think that's too much money?
Can I ask you how much time you think you've put into Miles Morales? How many hours would you guess?
The story was probably 5 hours long, like 5-6 hours long. I've probably put in about, I'd say maybe 15 to 20 hours, maybe a little bit less. So you kind of, with that, for that game to be worth what you pay for it, you kind of have to do everything. If you're somebody who doesn't complete games like that and you just go in, you're going to play for the story, then I don't necessarily think it's going to be worth it for you. I would probably wait till it's a little bit cheaper. But I think the other thing is that all games are going to be like that now. So regardless of whether you think it's like it should have been DLC or it's a full game or it's a remake like Demon Souls, all of those are going to be $70. So, do you guys think that's a fair price with sort of the technology that we're going to be seeing from this?
Joey, do you wanna answer that first?
Yeah. I think $70 for me at least is a little bit too high for certain games. That said, if I really want a game, I'm probably going to go buy it either way. In the past, they've had these not necessarily early access, but here's the upgraded version of this game that's going to be $80 or $70, and you get like additional stuff to it. And then they have the super mega one, which is like $90 or $100 sometimes. I don't usually go for those. I usually go for the base game. And that said, I don't know if they're going to include that extra content in some of those AAA games with the $70 price tag. I think it's a little too high, though.
Do you think they're going to bump all of those games? Like, if you buy the deluxe version and the ultimate edition, do you think all of those are going to scale accordingly? Like, they'll each be $10 more than they were before?
Well, speculating wildly. I guess I think they just increase the price. Yeah, I don't think they'll include it out of the goodness of their hearts.
No, yeah, I don't think so either.
I think they are, but don't quote me on that. Like everything gets bumped up 10 because the
Yeah.
base game is getting bumped up 10.
That would definitely make sense for where I think they're going to be going with this.
So have you I guess this is a question. Have you seen them? I don't know who them would be in this scenario, but just any argument for why we're seeing this increase in price is basically you're seeing better performance on these consoles, so you should be paying a higher price.
So
Because
can
if
I
so, how do you justify that with, say, a PC?
let me answer that because it kind of ties into my answer for why I think it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a few reasons for that, but I want to hear what you think about just overall what you think about the price.
I think so the price for me is like I bought Cold War and I bought the Series X and like the current gen. Like I bought it for both consoles, so it transfers, and that was $70. I didn't really pay too much attention to it versus if it was like $60. Like at 60 and 70 you're kind of close, like the difference of $10. It is kind of a big difference, like in percentage wise of the total, but I don't think it's that big. I mean, if you really want a game, like Joey said, you're probably gonna buy it, and I'm not one to go for the deluxe editions and stuff like that either, so it was just $70 for me.
Yeah, and I think to answer your question, Joey, about like why the prices are increasing, the two arguments one is kind of speculating and one is just sort of fact. But the factual one is definitely that games just cost more to make now. The manpower and the hours and the time, the blood, sweat, and tears that are required for these games is just so much more than it used to be. And games used to cost a lot more money. Like Super Mario 3 for the SNES was $90, and that's not included with inflation or none of that's been adjusted. So that game is way more money than these games are now. So that's one argument that I see, just that it's so much more expensive now to put something out. But the other thing that I see, and this is what I hope, this is more the opinion one, but this is what I hope we'll see with these games going forward, is that I think a lot of companies made the mistake of putting in microtransactions and doing loot boxes and these sort of like pay to win systems. And I'm hoping that with the increase in price for these games, you're going to see that sort of fade away. So, if every person is paying $10, and that would equate to about $10 in microtransactions, and these practices sort of slowly becoming illegal in a lot of places, especially like the UK, I think you're going to see companies start to go like stray from that business model. But that's only because you're able to. So if I am going to pay $10 more for a game, and it means that the game isn't going to have those features, then I'm kind of here for it.
So I want to kind of clarify my answer earlier. If I'm buying a game like Miles Morales, where like you average just on the story, it was like $10 an hour. Like if that's all you played was the story, I'm still probably going to buy that game because I'm not trying to get like the most bang for my buck out of a game. Like I want to play the game, right? So whether I play it for 5 hours or I play it for 50 hours, the price doesn't really matter because I want to play the game, right? As long as it's not like $1,000 or something crazy,
right? And I have to look at it from that perspective too, because like for me, of course, the game is worth that much money. Like I am a massive Spider-Man fan, and I'm going to play that game no matter what. So it could have been $1,000, and I would have found a way to buy it. But I'm trying to look at it from like the most casual of casual gamers, being like, objectively, is this worth the price? And I can definitely see the arguments for why it's not.
Can I touch on inflation for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Because I did some research. I did my homework for this episode.
Oh, okay.
So in 2005 is when they started doing $60 games, right? So if you look at the increase in inflation from 2005 to 2020, cumulatively it's about 33%. If you look at, if you can just do the quick mental math, 60 to 70 is like 15 or 17% or something like that. So it's only going up like half of inflation since the last jump. So really, these games should be costing like $80 if you adjust for inflation since 2005. So it could be worse. I mean, that's not a good argument, but
It's valid though. I mean, it's
yeah,
100% valid.
yeah. So these games adjusted for inflation are still cheaper than the $60 games you bought in 2005.
Yeah.
I'm not using that as an argument for. It's just an interesting thing
And
to talk about.
arguably, you could say, I mean, you know, in terms of the actual gameplay, there's, you know, people will have their opinions, and I certainly have mine. But in terms of the graphics and the performance, I mean, it's way better than anything you'd find on Xbox 360. That's not even a question.
Yeah. Think about the games you played in 2005. Think about the games you played this year or last year.
Right? Yeah, it's a wildly different experience. For better or worse, it's wildly different.
Yeah. And the microtransactions thing, you really think they're going to stop that shit?
Well,
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think if you were spending, you know, if they were getting like $5 out of you before, they're still going to try and get that $5 out of you out of microtransactions, and then you get to pay $70 instead of $60. So they're getting you, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I should be clear. I'm not saying they're stopping it out of the goodness of their hearts or anything.
I don't think they're going to slow it down.
No. I'm not saying it's just going to stop because they're like, oh, we did a bad thing and we care about how people feel. I'm talking from the perspective of it becoming illegal, which is what a lot of things are being put in place to ban loot boxes as a form of gambling to kids. That's, you know, been debated about for years now, and it's kind of coming to a head. I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying those could get banned. So it's not companies being like, oh, but the customer's feelings. It's more like, hey, listen, this is going to be illegal and we need to charge these motherfuckers. So we're going to make the games cost $10 more. But that is a trade-off personally that I'm willing to make if that's what happens. That's more of what I was saying.
I think it speaks a little bit to the design of how games are changing, or the way, you know, game design is changing. They're starting to kind of design games not including, you know, these microtransactions. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I think how microtransactions became this widely used and just ubiquitous was from mobile games. Mobile games now are like either half or more than half of this entire multi-billion-dollar industry, just with how many microtransactions there are involved in these games. So I think that practice comes from those games. But I think we're slowly getting away from that. I know, like, Fallen Order is one example, from a company that did use a lot of microtransactions. EA went and made this single-player game that has nothing like that, to my knowledge.
Don't talk about EA and not doing microtransactions.
I give them a little bit of credit there.
All their
Not a lot, but a little.
All their sports games still have them.
I know.
Very heavily.
I know.
It was a step in the right direction, even if it was one step forward, two steps back. Like, they're still making strides to be better. And there's a lot of other issues with Fallen Order besides the it being a half-finished game and all. But I don't know. I definitely agree with you. I think you know, seeing even those baby steps from EA is enough to convince me that the landscape is going to change back to kind of the way it was before. And you see that even with the type of games that come out now. Like, there's, you know, a bunch of platformers that are coming back out, sort of 3D platformers. Astro World is free, or I'm sorry, Astro's Playroom is free with the PS5, which is a platformer. And that's very like 2000 to 2005. So I think people just want good single player games that focus on the gameplay.
So the games aren't changing since 2005. We should be paying $60.
There it is.
And you can make that argument too. And I'm sure a lot of those will be. They'll be a lot cheaper than the $70, because that's not. I don't think $70 is across the board. It's just what we've seen so far.
It's from like big AAA companies. You know, the indie games are still going to be $20 or $40 or whatever they are.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see if the indie game prices go up too, though. Because I don't, you know,
if you want to keep it kind of consistent, $20 versus $25 for an indie game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to pay that.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on the game, but I mean, a lot of times indie games they get a lot more mileage out of and a lot more enjoyment out of than AAA games.
Look at Among Us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, AAA games can be very cookie cutter and just repetitive, and you may go pick up the latest Assassin's Creed and be like, I feel like I've played this game before. You know, I haven't played Valhalla, but I'm just saying some of these games are very iterative. and just the formulas.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I think if you're looking for innovation, then, indie games are kind of the darling child of the games industry now. That's where you're going to find a lot of new ideas, because it's like, all right, we got $200 and 3 people, but we have a pretty solid idea. Let's make a game. And that's how you get shit like Fall Guys or Among Us. And I definitely think that's going to be like, after seeing the success of both of those games, I think that's going to be a major factor going forward into how people design their video games.
Also, Hades, if you guys haven't played that yet, fantastic game.
Colin said that too.
I haven't heard of that.
It's really good. It's a roguelike. I think it's about $25-$30. So.
What's it on?
I have it for Switch, but I think it's on PC. It might be on Xbox and PlayStation as well.
I think it's on everything, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I was looking it up before, and it looked really fun. I like those rogue style games, like Binding of Isaac and shit like that. They're really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, speaking of next gen, while we're sort of in this area, we can kind of talk about the PS3 and some of the problems that's been having with a lot of the users.
The PS3?
I say people are really struggling with their PS3s right now.
What number are we on again?
I don't know. The Xbox fucked it all up, and now I don't know what the numbers are for anything. The PS5, sorry. So the PS5 has been having a lot of issues with, like, to name a few, people, like, a lot of games have been blue screening some of the consoles and erasing some data. There's been some overheating problems. There's problems with compatibility with, like, external hard drives and other things that should work at launch. And then some people's consoles are just bricking entirely. They just have to send it back, and all they can really do right now is get their money back because they're in such short supply. There's no way they could just, like, send you another one.
They're not, like, first on the list to get a console.
No,
replacement.
Sony
sucks.
Today said that like, one of the lead executives is quoted as saying everything is sold out, which is not what you want to hear.
Jeez.
But
their manufacturing's probably been real slowed down because of COVID.
Yeah, for sure. And this isn't uncommon with console launches. To, like, the first couple months the consoles are buggy, but this seems so much worse. And I think part of that is because of the rush production and the stopping of production with COVID definitely, threw a wrench into their plans. But to me, it's still, like, if you're going to release something like that and charge people $500, I still think that's kind of unacceptable to have all these problems. But, what do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I think especially, like, they've been planning this for a while. They've been manufacturing it for a while. I don't think, again, companies never saw COVID coming, and it's hard to plan around that stuff. So I think you do end up with not as quite polished products, like, on your launch day. You have two options, right? You could move the launch day back, which will anger a lot of people, especially because next gen always releases around this time of year, before Black Friday, before Christmas. Or you just release kind of crappy products that aren't quite polished, and that's what they did. So
yeah, and I think the expectation is that, your console doesn't break and your console doesn't break. I don't know if you guys remember, but the 360 had a not great launch either. A lot of people got red rings. And yeah, I mean, Connor was probably one of them. I know mine, I guess, got the red ring like 2 or 3 years in. And, sending it in, having them fix it only for it to be broken again. I was without that thing for a couple months. So that sucks,
Yeah, it's a massive pain. And that was when the consoles were in stock. So I can only imagine how long it's going to be for these people whose PS5s break.
They can go pick one up off eBay for $1,000.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen that on the marketplace. There's so many people where they're not even subtle about it. When they take pictures of the console, it's like 8 of them in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, I have 8 of these, $1,200 each, like, Venmo me. And it's kind of insane to me. I definitely think that, Sony and Mike, I know they don't really care, but I feel like they should be doing their part to stop scalpers from doing this to people.
I mean,
well,
they
really,
made their money.
It needs to be on, our retailers and the kind of the e-commerce sites like Amazon, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what these people do is they have these bot accounts that just kind of, buy up all these consoles where they can.
Yeah. And I think part of it too is some of those sites don't even limit how many you can buy.
Mm.
So as long as you're there first and you pick up a certain amount and you get it, then you just get it. And there's no restrictions in place.
Have you ever seen that video of this lady? She's like in line for like a new iPhone or something, and she has like thousands of dollars, and she's like, I'm gonna buy like a ton of them and resell them. And so she buys like the first spot in line, and then she gets in there, and they have a limit of one iPhone per customer. So she paid like a couple $100s for that first spot in line, and then she could only buy one iPhone.
Yep.
Oh, that's so good. That makes me feel so good, dude. That's incredible. I mean, it's nice to know that Apple is, putting that kind of stuff in place. I'm assuming she was probably at an Apple store, so it's nice to know that.
Might have been an AT&T store or something like that, like a carrier store.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that should limit one per person on launch day for things like this, for consoles, for phones, expensive ass shit. It should be, because people are just gonna scalp them and then sell them for twice the product, and people will buy that shit.
Especially during a pandemic. I mean, my God,
Well, little Jimmy needs his Christmas presents.
Yeah, that's really who you're taking this away from. I mean, you could say, adults are patient; they can, wait this stuff out. But it's really the kids that want these consoles, and I feel bad for kids who have been saving or who were promised this for Christmas and they're just not going to get it. That sucks.
What if a 15-year-old who's been working, or 16, I don't know, labor laws, but a teenager is working, and then he's his job's lost due to COVID, and now he doesn't have enough money. He would normally have enough money to go buy from GameStop or Walmart or Target or whatever, and now he can't. He has to look on Facebook Marketplace. It's $1,000. All his buddies have it. He's left out.
All they're trying to do is find some semblance of joy during this time, playing a PlayStation or doing something fun at your house that's safe and all that, and they can't even give you that.
I did see some comments on those $1,000 PS5s, and there's people commenting I'll give you $533 for it. Or $533, we have a deal.
Yeah, and part of the problem lies on the customer too, or the people that are buying them, because they're adults. They can make their own decisions, and I think it's stupid that they're if no one fed into this, then we wouldn't be having a problem. So there's blame on both sides for sure.
Well, it's supply and demand. The Facebook Marketplace and all that shit. It's the Wild West. So the supply is limited and the demand is there, and the price is going to be what it is.
Yeah, I mean these consoles literally just came out. They're out of stock everywhere. People are dying to get their hands on them. And yeah, it's kind of expected if they're out of stock. I would just wait, honestly. If I want one, I'm just gonna wait. This is the worst time to go buy one, I think.
Yeah. But there's a lot of impulsive people out there.
Right.
So
it's always good to wait too. Even not in a pandemic, it's always good to wait a couple months after the launch, because generally by then they've patched it a bunch and they've updated the consoles and everything works pretty much how it should. Mm-hmm. You're kind of beta testing every time you buy a console day one.
That's true. Hannah's been apologizing because she's like, I can't find the PS5 anywhere. I can't get it. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You can wait till after the new year. I'll be fine. I don't even care.
You're like, Facebook Marketplace has them for $1,200, so chop.
No, I told her specifically, do not do that. Don't go behind my back and do that.
No, it's so much money.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm buying an Xbox right now. That's even more of a. There's no games for it. There's no reason to buy a Series X right now. That thing is
just you use it to store your beer or something. It's a fridge too, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it just opens up and you put your stuff in there, cools it off, and then when you want to play some, I don't know, Forza or something, just turn it on.
That would be a great feature, honestly. If it's big enough, it could fit 2 or 3 beers in there.
Didn't they give somebody a mini fridge? Didn't Microsoft? I thought I saw
I did
this
see
somewhere.
they designed basically a fridge, Series X.
Yeah. They
Did
made one. They gave it away to somebody.
I need to look up who they gave
That's
it
great.
to. Microsoft fridge giveaway, or was it just a randomly?
No, it was like a full Microsoft giveaway. Like they actually like had a contest
Sweepstakes.
and stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's
mean, at
kind of
least-
awesome. They kind of
least
ran
they're-
with it.
Yeah, they're poking fun at themselves, but
Yeah.
I mean, this console to me in no way right now seems next gen. I mean, it looks exactly like the other consoles. The UI is the same as the other consoles. There's no new games. The controller isn't different. Like at least PlayStation's trying to push stuff forward. And I'm not even a PlayStation guy, but like they clearly had the better design and launch games for this thing. They were much more prepared than Xbox was, I think.
Well, they have the solid state drive in it, right? In both of these new consoles, right?
They do, yeah. And the Series X is technically more powerful, but if there's
Mhm.
nothing to play on it, then it doesn't really matter.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like buying a Series X at this point. You're really buying it for the investment of new games,
Yeah.
or just I don't know, playing The Witcher 3 with that hardware or whatever else is out. I don't know.
Yeah,
Not very appealing to me.
no, absolutely, because you're basically just trying to future proof. But the problem is that in a year or two, when all the games they've announced, like Fable and the new Bethesda RPG, whatever that, or I'm sorry, the Obsidian RPG, whatever that one was called, when all those come out, the Series X 2 will be out, whatever that is. It'll be the updated version, and then you can just get that at launch with a bunch of games that are already out. Like that seems to make much more sense than buying this now for a crappy Halo that'll be out in 3 months. Like, I love Halo, but that game looks bad.
Let's talk about it when it comes out.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm excited for it personally.
It looks fun. Like that. My problem wasn't with the gameplay at all. Like I like the grappling hook thing, and I like the open world nature of it.
Yeah.
And some of the new weapons look cool. Like it just ran like shit.
I don't even know if I'm gonna get that console, so I might not play it honestly.
It's on PC. They're releasing it on PC too. So if every single one of the games that they announced is also coming to PC. So if you have a powerful enough computer, then there is no reason to buy a Series X.
Yep.
If we all wanted to play together, it's all cross play. So we could just get into a Discord chat and do like a party that way.
Which I love that Microsoft has taken bounds in that direction for the past few years.
Yeah, it's been great, and I hope Sony jumps on board with that pretty soon. But who knows?
Yeah.
Look up. Is this true? PS5 outsells Xbox Series X by more than 4 times. It sounds true.
Is that in the U.S.?
In Japan,
Yeah.
which makes sense.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I
looked up some U.S. numbers and I couldn't find any. I did see the U.K. In the U.K. that the Xbox is outselling the PS5 like crazy.
Okay.
Like almost by the same margin, I think.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, especially in Japan. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Not only did I not read the article, I didn't even read the full title.
That's how Americans get our news, dude. Well, not
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Yeah. Speaking of which, do you want to shift gears?
Yeah. So we're 4 episodes deep into The Mandalorian, which is been a mixed bag.
I want to put out there. I'm waiting for all of them to come out, and I'm going to binge it all at once.
That's probably that might be a good move based on how this season is going so far. Which I didn't think it was going to go with episode 1, which was awesome, and then the rest have been pretty mediocre.
Chris, I wanted to do that, but then Connor sniped me and said, "Hey, go watch this first episode." And I was like, "Dude, I just want to watch them all like when they're out. I don't want to wait." He's like, "No, go watch it right fucking now." So I did.
I'm really sorry.
And 2 through 4
It was worth it. It's okay.
have not lived up to episode 1, have they?
No.
Okay.
No, hasn't even been close. Episode 2 was actually kind of bad. Episode 3 was better, and then this episode was like pretty bland, except for one subplot, which I won't spoil or say anything about. But one interesting thing that has come up from this isn't actually the show itself, but the actress who plays, it's Cara Dune, right? That's her name. So the actress who plays Cara Dune is Gina Carano, and she's had some statements on Twitter that have been pretty inflammatory and people have gotten pretty upset about. Namely, she's posted a lot of memes about, she's not someone who's going to wear a mask, and she's an anti-masker. And like, I saw one that she posted that said, "Oh, we might as well wear blindfolds too to hide us from the truth," or something stupid like that.
I saw that one too. Yeah.
She's talked about how the recent election was rigged and how there was, mass voter fraud, a lot of sort of the, a lot of stuff you see going on right now. I'm trying to keep it as diplomatic as possible. But people have seen this on Twitter and seen her feed, and they're not very happy about it. And a lot of Star Wars fans are calling for her resignation, and for her to be fired from the show. And so far from what I've seen, nothing's happened on that front. But apparently there was supposed to be a spin-off show with her that has since been either canceled or just put on the shelf indefinitely. But
because
I'm curious,
of this or because of COVID?
because of this specifically. So I guess I'm curious as to what you guys think. If like, not necessarily about what she said, but do you think that Disney should take action here, or do you think that she can kind of say whatever she wants?
What, Joey? Do you want to speak to it or?
Sure. So I had no knowledge about this before coming on tonight. I just watched this last episode of Mandalorian, where she was, I guess, starring in it. It sucks. I was devastated. I'm like, man, can I just like enjoy the show without any problems? No, apparently not. So yeah, I'm mad. I'm pissed about it, but I don't know. I'm a little in the middle about this. I don't know really if they can or should get rid of her, fire her. So with John Boyega, for some, I don't know, just more contextual flavor, very adamant about the Black Lives Matter protests, in favor of them, and has been all over Twitter in support of them. And I think he had a call with Kathleen Kennedy, basically talking about, okay, we're in full support of you. We agree with you, and we need to, kind of move forward. I guess was her statement. I might be butchering that. So I think Disney's trying to stay woke. They're trying to be correct on this issue. I do disagree with the actress. I don't really know what can or should be done, though, if I'm being honest.
So I think, regardless of if you agree or disagree with any of these actors or actresses, they represent Disney as a company, as like any employee of a company does. So, and specifically with them, like being celebrities and in the limelight, they represent it almost 24/7. So Disney definitely has like a reason to not censor, but like have a chat with them if they get out of line. But I don't know. It's tough because I think if you're a celebrity and you have the platform to kind of put those views out there, like John Boyega and Black Lives Matter, Leonardo DiCaprio's done a lot for like environmentalism and things like that. And I think you should use it, right? Like Colin Kaepernick in the NFL had this massive platform and people listened. I think you should do that. So she's using her platform to put all her views out there. And I don't disagree with that. I disagree with what she's saying. I don't disagree that she should shut up.
I agree 100%. She should have the right to do that. And I do think it's Disney's place to kind of say, okay, well, we can't really have you saying this stuff and, continue employing you.
I think that's where the controversy is, because even though she has the platform and she's expressing her views, she's still working for Disney and represents Disney. So like basically she has free speech, but what comes out of that because of who she represents, I don't know. And that's in, I don't know what state it is in, but most states are like at will employment, so they can just cut her off or cancel contracts or whatever. And not think twice about it. But I don't know. It's tough.
It's really interesting that you brought up that Colin Kaepernick comparison, because you kind of stole the words out of my mouth. I think personally, obviously what she's saying is wrong and stupid, and I'm not defending anything that she's saying because she's being ignorant, objectively being ignorant. But it is interesting, like, when do we decide, like, when can we cherry pick? Because Colin Kaepernick worked for a company, he worked for the NFL, and what he did was share his opinion, and rightfully so, I think. And it was for a great cause. But should people be allowed to do, like, can she do the same thing with hers? Is she allowed, even though it's spreading misinformation? Like, I feel like she has the right to do that. If that's it, I think it's dangerous when we censor people when this country was built on freedom of speech. And she can say whatever she wants, and even if she works for a company, I don't think we get to decide what's right and what's wrong to say based solely on that fact.
But what if Disney faces boycotts of The Mandalorian and loses subscribers and loses money because of what she says? Because fans are angry.
Yeah, they can play it off as a financial decision. And if in the PR route, if that's where they decide to go with it, then, that's their right. They can fire whoever they want. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I just think, the idea of having opinions kind of seems to be going away in today's culture. Like, or I guess the idea of disagreeing is kind of going away, which I think can be sort of dangerous. It's nice to hear from both sides. It's nice to digest information and then come up with your own thought, even if it's something as wrong as what she's saying, which is that there's election fraud and that masks don't matter, which both of those things are wildly incorrect.
Well, I'll put out one of my views. Let's recount the election. Let's double check. I'm a professional and I have to double check my work before I, submit or commit anything. So why can't these election people? I'm all for the recounts.
Yeah,
and you can disagree with somebody. Like you said, that's fine. And people should understand that. Like, people have different opinions. You might not like it, but that's the opinion they hold. 70 million people voted for Trump, 74, 76, however many voted for Biden, right? There's obviously people who have different opinions in this country. And I think everybody has the right to that. I don't think we should be censored. Now, freedom of speech should have a little bit of censorship in terms of, like, hate speech or, like, shouting bomb in an airport or whatever. But
right.
In this case, I think she has the right to say that stuff. But remember to not get trapped in the echo chamber. Verify with multiple sources, credited sources, and make up your own opinion.
And that goes for everybody. That's not just people who are Republican or people who think this virus is a hoax. That's every single person in America.
I would say the same for Colin Kaepernick or John Boyega,
Yeah, absolutely. Check your sources. Make sure what you're saying is factual. And the John Boyega thing is interesting too, because not only was he speaking about political injustices, but also there was political injustice done to his character in the movies, which is something that Gina Carano hasn't really faced, at least so far, in The Mandalorian. Obviously, the character Finn, had a massive role in the first movie, and in my opinion was the best character in the whole movie. Like, I really enjoyed his arc. I like the idea of a stormtrooper or any sort of Imperial defecting. I think that can make for some really good content. And in the first movie it did, and then they sidelined him for the next two movies. They did nothing with his character, and you could say the same about a lot of the other characters who were played by either women or people of color. And that's a totally valid argument. And he should be, again, just like her, he should be able to share those opinions freely. And, I think if you're, that's, I guess, what I get back to with the cherry picking thing. Like, if you're going to let him say those things, then you kind of have to let her say those things. You don't really get to choose.
Yeah.
So you disagree with the Disney fans?
I don't
get her fired or no? Because you can say she's allowed to say these things, but at the end of the day, like, what does Disney do as a company?
Right. If I guess, for my own opinion, if they fired her, I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world. I think what she's saying is just objectively false, And if people are upset about it and they start losing money, that's within their right to fire her. But I just think sometimes people go on the attack too quickly, and you really have to look at these things from all angles. You have to put yourself in her shoes, in Disney's shoes, in the executive shoes, in the other people that she works with, their shoes, how they feel about her while filming. There's a million different things that I think people just want to be mad about something, and that I think can be very dangerous.
Yeah, I think if people start boycotting and it becomes a financial problem, I think Disney has the right. If it becomes an employee relation kind of problem where actors and actresses aren't meshing well together, then I think Disney can have a leg to stand on. But some of the fans just crying to get fired. It's a little bit much, I think.
Right.
And I notice this a lot with, like, this is a little off topic, but like with debates and arguments and stuff, especially with like people online, they want a debate to win, and they don't want a debate to share information or see another point of view or things like that. So I don't know. I guess that's just the culture we're in now.
Nobody checks anything. They see something and immediately assume it's correct.
Yeah, I got into an argument on Reddit with a guy, and I was like, "Where are your sources?" And he was just like, "Do your homework like I did mine." And I was like, "Okay, dude, I'm not gonna listen to you."
Not a source.
Yeah.
Joey, what do you think? Do you think, like, do you feel really, really strongly that she should actually be fired, or do you kind of? I mean, I remember you seem to be kind of somewhere in the middle, but
Yeah, I don't feel strongly that way. This is something that I struggle with because when it comes to Star Wars or other media that I love, I need to find a way to separate certain, I guess, political aspects of it to further and fully enjoy it. That becomes very difficult when we have something as pressing as the coronavirus, where you have to wear your mask. If you're in public, that is unquestionable to me. It's really something I have to keep separate. And to go back and look on the show now, knowing what I know, it's going to be hard.
right.
And going forward, like, it really depends on their plans for her character, Cara Dune. Are they going to include her as a constant support role in this show? Are they actually going to go on with this spin-off show with her? I don't know. It's something you as a consumer have to be knowledgeable of, I think. And it's one of those things where I think you need to vote with your dollar, or in this case, I guess, vote with your view or whatever. If you do support her, go and watch her show, I guess. If you don't watch it. I mean, I don't know what other advice to give.
You definitely brought up an interesting point about being passionate about whatever the thing is. Like, if you have a heavy investment in something, it's definitely going to affect your opinion on how you view someone or whether or not they should be fired or not. Because Connor's obligatory Spider-Man time, I kind of felt that way with the new face. Like, I was, I'm still pretty angry about it, but it's, my opinions might be more harsh because I feel more passionately about that game than most people. So it's hard for me to kind of take a step back and be like, well, what are the positives of this? Or what, how could this new guy with his new face bring in, some new energy to this game or whatever? Where in the back of my head, I'm like, this is stupid. I hate this. Like I don't like any decision they've made with this. So that's interesting too. You have to look at her as a character and be like, well, I have some emotional investment in her character. And is that, whether or not she gets fired, does that affect how I watch this show from now on?
Right.
So, I mean, these are all, it's hard to say one way or the other. I don't want us to, I feel like a lot of our segments turn into us fence riding, and I don't want to seem like that's what we're doing. That's just how I think. I like to look at everything from a bunch of different angles.
Yeah. I won't fence ride. I'll say Disney shouldn't fire her.
Okay. I'm definitely leaning.
If they did, I understand why. And that's not me fence riding.
No, that's a definitive statement. I think I agree with that. I think I could put all my eggs into that basket. I agree.
I don't think they should fire her, but if they do, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm in that same mindset, Chris. I don't want to just start firing people because they have bad opinions, or canceling people because they have bad opinions. Which this kind of reeks of that, like this cancel. I forget her name now, but Cara Dune. Um, yeah, it's really dicey for me because she's a support character, and if this was Pedro Pascal, that would be a different story because you're looking at the main star of the show.
Sort of.
Yeah, true. I mean, don't take away from Baby Yoda, right?
Well, also Pedro Pascal apparently is barely on set anymore. Like most of his role on that show is just VO.
Oh wow.
So
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so like 99% of the time, I think he has like 2 or 3 stunt guys that just wear the outfit.
Yeah.
He just there's been like, again, all rumors, all speculation. I can't say anything definitive, but there's been some issues with him on set of like creative differences and him arguing for certain things that aren't happening. And so apparently season 3 onward is going to be limited to just VO. He will only record voice, and he won't, step foot on the set at all, which is super interesting.
Wow.
And part of me understands. I'm like, well, you gotta take a stand for, what you believe and how you feel. But the other side of me is like, fuck you. You get to be in the Star Wars universe. I would be there every day, 3 hours early, dressed up in that Mandalorian outfit. Like, you can go fuck yourself.
What if they made a Jar Jar spinoff and you were his sidekick, Connor? Would you still be there?
Yes, 100%. Anything to be in that universe, I would be there in a heartbeat.
Okay.
I could be like someone watching pod racing, and one of the pod racers like explodes, and for half a second you see me, and then I just get creamed by by whatever's left of that pod racer. I would be in that scene.
Connor, I'm gonna start a petition to have you added in the next Mandalorian episode as a Duros.
We need to
the
reach
race
out.
Duros.
Yeah.
They're the blue guys with like the red eyes.
Oh yeah.
They're an actual species. Yeah. And
Wait,
they're called
that's real?
Duros. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're kind of blowing my mind right now.
I'm gonna try to find a link and post it in Discord.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah,
Or just type in DUROS Star Wars.
It would just say Duros as Duros.
Duros 1.
No, I feel the same way. Like, I would be anything in like that or the MCU. Like, that would be so like Hulk brings down a building and I'm one of the people going, "Oh my god!" Like, anything like that would be awesome.
That's cool. It's not spelled the same, but it's close enough.
Yeah, I mean it's
I'm gonna check it. I'm gonna check the link real quick because that's really cool. I didn't even know that they had that. Is this a Wikipedia article?
Should I share my screen and show?
Sure.
Oh, it's like Duros.
Yeah.
This you guys see.
Oh, dude,
it's the planet Duro. But yeah.
Oh, so they are Duros, I guess. Okay. That's cool though. I've never seen that species before.
Yeah.
What are they in?
That could fit. Look at that. Look at that gun. Appearances.
For audio listeners right now, we're looking at a screen with a picture of the Duroses.
So yeah, there are a lot of Rebels and
Star Wars 4
Clone Wars
episode.
Yeah.
A New Hope. There, yeah. Okay, so I'm guessing they're probably.
I think they appear in the cantina, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I would assume. And looks like a lot of like the animated stuff, Clone Wars.
Yeah, there's a lot of Clone Wars and Rebels appearances in there too.
Yeah.
If I can go off track for a second, one of the reasons I mean that first episode of Mandalorian was so good, but one of my favorite things is what they did with the sand people.
Mm-hmm.
How they, I don't know what I can say without spoiling anything. How they communicate. Do you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Oh my god, I loved it. Like
why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
I think is super interesting.
Yeah.
And that to me is like the Easter egg that I want to see, like world building. Like
it is so cool. The opportunity that the show has to go back and kind of like, kind of fill in holes. I guess with the Star Wars universe that have previously just not been discussed, or if they've been discussed, it's in like magazines or other novels that people don't really know about.
Yeah, and to see that from a whole new lens, I totally agree. And especially like a Star Wars lens and a literal lens, a directorial lens, like a camera lens, when you get to see that Crate Dragon in IMAX when they shoot it with the IMAX cameras, it's so cool. Like like I was on the edge of my seat. That episode was an hour. It felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It flew by. It was so good.
Yep.
Chris, you really should watch it. I would love when whenever this is over, whenever Mandalorian is over, I'm sure we could schedule it to have you back. But I would love to do like a full breakdown.
Oh,
of
please!
That second season with you.
I've already watched that episode twice.
Have you really?
Not enough times. Yes.
Man, Timothy Oliphant is so good too. He's great as
I know
Cobb Vanth. He's awesome.
I know.
Sorry, Chris.
That's okay.
Yeah. Do we want to, Joey? You want to get into your topic?
Can we talk about Vin Diesel real quick? We winded down off of that the whole political kind of conversation like really well. I didn't expect it to wind down that well.
Yeah, no,
we went into Star Wars, so of course it would.
Yeah, it always gets lighthearted with Star Wars.
It always does with me.
Yeah, unless we're talking about Last Jedi, I can get mad about that. But no, So yeah, you want to go into Vin Diesel first?
Just a couple minutes because we are actually we've been recording for a while.
What time are we at right now?
I think we're at like 52, almost 52 minutes.
Oh wow, okay.
So I think we might run over a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We can go a couple minutes over. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
So I guess I can describe how I got into this. Drew, I think it's Drew Godden, I want to say his name is. He's a YouTuber on the platform, and he does kind of like commentary videos. And he did one just like on the ridiculousness of Vin Diesel in general. And I think this is where I first saw it. But Vin Diesel this year has put out two songs that are both equally as terrible in kind of an incredible way. If you guys haven't heard, we can't play them on here because I kind of want to get copyrighted by Vin Diesel, but I also don't. So we're not going to play them here, but look them up. There's two songs on Spotify, and they are absolutely incredible.
He's combined for like 3 million listens.
Which is pretty impressive, to be honest. I mean, even though he's a celebrity,
the one just dropped like a few weeks ago.
Right? Yeah, I think so. And the best way I can describe them is like horrible garbage pop EDM with like some of the most overproduced. I mean, you know how Vin Diesel sounds. Like that's not a surprise. So like, no one's shocked that this is bad. I'm just shocked at how bad it is.
Just go spend 6 minutes and listen to it. I think that's the combined total runtime of that. It's definitely both worth your time and not worth your time.
Yeah, if I was not on tonight, I probably would not have listened to it ever, and I could have lived my entire life without listening to them. So,
I just want to know like what is his end game? Like, was it like I had these two songs and now I'm done, or is it like I got 3 albums in the works? And I'm working with people.
Oh no!
I got Travis Scott on an album, and like,
if he could get like some really like big time features, I wonder if it would make it better.
I could see. The funny thing is like weirdly, I see a shimmer of potential with this. Like, if he goes all the way over the top with it and hires people who could take that with him, like Kanye West or someone like that. I could see it being kind of an awesome song, like a weird, trippy. He gets into the like acid rap shit. Like I would love to see that.
I know this is probably I'm going to be the only one with this opinion, but I really like Lil Uzi Vert features. So a Vin Diesel song with Lil Uzi Vert would be complete garbage, but I would love it.
I think that would be awesome. I'm trying to think of like a Lil Uzi Vert feature that's good.
They're not really good, but I don't know. I like the way they produce his voice.
Yeah, he has a lot of good songs. Like I think people hate on him a lot, but it's not nearly all of it is warranted. Like he's got good shit.
I think, well, yeah, his songs aren't that bad. His live performances I've heard are atrocious.
You went to one of them, didn't you?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't go to the one.
Well, by the time I was running late, and by the time I was ready, it was like 45 minutes in the concert, and I was like, well, it's too late now. He wasn't even there yet. like 45 minutes. Like the artists are always late, but this was like 45 minutes like after that.
Right.
Apparently, he came on, did like a couple songs, and then like that was it. And I think he repeated a song or two, and it wasn't very good. Like he was like hours late. It was like wild.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's one story, but I know there's more stories out there.
yeah, he's pretty notorious for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember because I dropped someone off there at the concert, and I was just like, I don't even want to do this anymore. So I went home, and apparently, I made the right choice.
I didn't even know who he was because he was still relatively new.
No, this was big after like EXO Tour Life.
Oh, okay. Well, then I was just like, I didn't. I was like,
I think this was.
stupid,
I know EXO Tour Life was out, and it was kind of big.
Okay, yeah. Then I just didn't know about it. I got more into that kind of stuff after you and Colin sort of introduced me to like the other side of that world, and I was like, okay, I actually like this a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, Vin Diesel makes music now.
He certainly does.
Do you think like in Fast 10 or whatever, he'll be like driving his McLaren down the street bumping his own music?
They have to have a cameo somewhere.
Yeah, I need that on the soundtrack.
What more can they do with those movies? Where is it space? Are they gonna drift in ships?
I think they're making Fast 10's been a thing, right? I feel like they're
I mean, last time I didn't even see it, but I saw the trailer. Like the first time I saw Fast 8 or 9 or whatever, I saw that trailer with you, and he was drifting around a submarine in the air.
It comes out in like 4 months, supposedly. On the Fast.
It might go straight to streaming or whatever. I'm so like
Fast and Furious 9. I don't even know what one they're on right now.
No, because they had the spin-off one. They had Hobbs and Shaw.
I still have to see that.
I don't know if that counts as one technically, but
I'm getting confused by the release dates, I think.
Either way, Vin Diesel makes music. Look it up.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We're not getting into this.
No, I don't want to fall down that
If you want us to, comment below, and we will on the next episode.
We'll go through Vin Diesel's filmography from Boiler Room to Riddick to Triple X all the way to Fast and Furious. So
was he in like The Pacifier or something?
He was the best movie of the time, The Pacifier.
Yeah, we'll go through it if you want us to.
I've seen The Pacifier more times than I care to admit.
Really?
Just in my childhood, yeah. Like it was one of those movies that we always kind of had around.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me. I think I've only seen it like once though.
I've seen it like 8 times.
We're not getting into this. We're not getting into this.
No, we're not getting into this. I'm sorry. Joey, you have a topic, and I can't wait to hear it. I'm very excited.
All right. So, gentlemen, we've talked a lot about the new consoles tonight. So I thought it might be fun to continue wildly speculating about the future. That way we can come back in a couple years and be like, yeah, I called that shit, you know? So my mystery question is, what do you guys think is the future of console gaming? For, I guess, my own personal comment on this, I don't really want a new console yet. I don't know when I will. I don't want to spend $400, $500 on a new box that I think is just going to sit on my entertainment stand for a couple months while I wait for a game to come out. Considering how most of my time is just played on RuneScape right now. And I mean, I'm mostly on my computer for work anyway. So that's where I do all my gaming. And taking that in mind, I don't know how many, I know there's a lot of demand for these consoles, and I can anticipate definitely one more iteration of these boxes coming out. Following that, though, I don't know. And I think it's been, every 8, 9, maybe 10 years, we kind of see a new iteration or generation rather. Um, and I think it's also interesting to comment on Microsoft and what they're doing. It kind of feels like they're moving away from these building these consoles as they're trying to do this Game Pass service and trying to move to more of a monthly subscription model where you can play on PC. But is there a future where we don't have consoles released every 10 years?
Yes.
Yes.
I think there will not. It's not going to happen yet. We don't have the fast enough internet for something like this. Like I remember On Live came out, which was the first sort of iteration of a Netflix-based video game subscription service, and it failed miserably. But it is the future. It was way too early. And I think what you're going to see isn't consoles anymore, but you're going to see brands. You're going to open your TV. You're going to go to the Sony branded PlayStation app or whatever it is, and you're going to be able to play games through that. You're going to subscribe to Sony. It'll be $10-15 a month, whatever it is. Maybe a little bit more because of how much. It'll probably be like $20 or $30. And then you're just going to stream your games. You're going to click on something. It'll be like an instant load thing. It'll put you back. You won't even really need to save because it'll just put you right back wherever you were. And I definitely think that's where things are going. In terms of actual hardware, VR, HoloLens, that's 100% going to be the future of gaming. Again, not there yet. All these iterations have been pretty good. But I think both of those things are going to be what you're going to see. And eventually that box won't matter.
So, Connor, your TV has to be as powerful as what would be the next gen console?
No. So I think your internet just has to be good enough to run this. And again, this is not there yet. Some cities have it with like Google Fiber and you get like gigabit internet per second, whatever. Some places have that kind of technology right now, but it's not widespread enough to where Xbox can be like, hey, we have an app. If you have a console, you can go fuck yourself. Like
I think what you're referring to specifically is cloud gaming, which is like new term getting thrown around, right?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Do you think that there's another console iteration in 2030 or around that time frame? Before that?
I don't know if I have a time frame necessarily, but there will be more consoles. Yes, after the PS5 and Xbox Series X, there's no way we're going to catch up to like what I'm describing right now in just 10 or 20 years. It's going to take a while for everybody to have this. I mean, I think about, how long it took everybody to switch over from dial-up to the internet that we have now. That took years, and that was still just the internet. So I think to make that leap to where everybody has, to where internet is more of a utility than more of a need than a want. And we're already pretty much there, but for those kind of speeds, it's going to be a while.
Do you think internet would have to be viewed as a utility? Because some people still don't have internet in certain places, which would just make this whole thing kind of useless for them.
Yeah.
Like they can't just buy a console and play completely offline in this scenario.
Let me ask you this scenario then. Would you rather haul your own trash right now, or would you rather have internet? Like if you could get sort of a free utility, what would you rather do? What is more essential to you right now? Would you rather take all the trash that you have, like once a week, you go put it in the dump, you take care of all that, or would you rather have internet as a utility?
Internet, because my job depends on it right now.
Exactly. So I think, and I totally agree with you. So I think,
well, I only say that because I have access to a truck, and I'm not going to throw garbage in my new car.
So that answer might be different for some people, but I think generally speaking, if people could have that as part of the utilities, but they would lose something else, I mean, I think they totally would. So if you could just add that on, I think people would, that's definitely where things are going. And I think that's, Google's plan for the next 30 years for sure, is to control everyone's internet.
I think it's still good because, like, what if the internet goes out, like power outage, or just a break in the line or something like that? Then you don't have internet, and before you could just boot up your console, play offline, assuming you still have power. You know what I mean? Like, what if there's an internet outage?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess you do see that a little bit now. Like, I know when PlayStation goes down, like that one time they went down with the PS3, it was for months, um, but not on the scale you're talking about. So that would definitely be an issue. And again, when they implement that, it would have to be like airtight in their design. Like they can't leave room for stuff like that, which is why I think it's going to take so long. But I guess to put a cap on my rambling, cloud gaming is my answer for sure.
So, Chris, what do you think?
I like the idea of cloud gaming. I don't think we're there yet. I think Connor, like what you said, pretty valid. I think there will be another iteration or at least two. I think at least two more consoles. What I would like to see, but I don't see happening, is we have kind of like a PC, but we can just subscribe to like Sony's version of PlayStation OS or whatever, and just run that on our PCs for the cost of a whatever PS Live subscription or whatever it is, or Xbox Live subscription, and you can just run it on your PC, and that allows for you to upgrade the hardware as time goes on. So you'll ever like it would just be like PC gaming basically, with a specific platform that you pay for.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. That's something I've thought about. Um, but I guess the distinction there is, why would you not just go play PC at that point? And it's specifically PC.
That's the big thing, and I think
it's the exclusives. That's the only argument you could probably make.
Yeah, it's the
the
game,
exclusives,
100%.
which is I think the other thing for that is Microsoft keeps the Xbox like its own IP or whatever, you know what I mean? And so you can't really go in there and change the hardware. You can't really, if you want to upgrade, you have to buy the new console.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the consoles have been, and that's what differentiates it from PC gaming. So either I think, because the consoles are getting stale, like let's admit it. I mean, if you see like what Apple's doing with right to repair and things like that, like companies don't want you opening their shit, and they don't want you repairing it, and they don't want you, and they plan obsolescence in it. And I'm being so negative right now, but that's what they do, and I think, I mean, it's working for them now, and obviously, like, you have to innovate, but I don't think it's gonna be the right. I just don't see it going that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a very high demand for these consoles, because people don't want the hassle of either building a PC or messing with any of that, or they just enjoy the comfort of playing on their couch with a TV a lot more. There's nothing wrong with that. I was that way for many years before I switched to playing primarily on PC. But there's a certain elegance and just ease with buying a console, turning it on, and then you have your games. Pretty much as easy as that.
I think that's the point, is how easy it is.
Yeah.
That'll never go away either. And I think you're going to see that same ease of use with whenever they do end up doing either just like a box that you buy that can then, like sort of like a Roku or something, where you pay for the subscriptions, but the Roku is just the catalyst for you to play these games. Obviously, it'll have to be more powerful than a Roku, but something like that, I think, these subscription-based services is and that's very pick up and play as well. But if I can make one more guess as to where things are going to go specifically, Microsoft and Xbox will be the first ones to get there, because they're the ones who are doing the innovation with cloud gaming right now. Nintendo and Sony have no interest in that whatsoever, and that's very clear with like how they're marketing these systems. They are consoles first and foremost. They play exclusive games, and they barely have any sort of streaming service besides like Nintendo's sort of okay virtual console, and then PlayStation Now, which is basically useless. So I definitely see Microsoft getting into that market first, and I think it makes sense because Sony is so much less huge than Microsoft is. I think they're about the fourth of the size of Microsoft, and some Sony executives have even said like the Game Pass model is unsustainable for us. Like, we just don't have the money or the manpower to make something like that work. and they've called out Microsoft. They're like, this won't work long term. Like, you're putting all your eggs into this basket, and it's not going to pan out in the end. And I don't know. I'm not an accountant, or I don't know anything about Microsoft's financials situation, but
I assume they're doing good.
yeah, but people did call that, not only for the money that Microsoft makes, but the money that game developers make. They're like, all right, well, people are paying $15 a month, and there's already 100 other games on there. How are we going to get paid? How are we, the developers, getting our money? It's the same thing with Spotify. Like, artists get paid so much less now because everything has gone subscription based. Nobody buys albums, so you're seeing a fraction of what you used to see, which is why the music industry is dying. And I think Sony and Nintendo are worried about that for video games as well. Microsoft isn't, because they have a bajillion dollars, but Sony and Nintendo don't.
I'm gonna go back to what you said earlier about the Roku's not being powerful enough. I'm gonna put Doom on a Roku TV, and I'm gonna freaking play it.
Like the new one, like Doom Eternal.
Yeah, no, like the old school one. Isn't that a thing? Like, people put Doom on like weird ass like technology shit.
Someone just put Doom on that new Game & Watch thing, the one that they released. It's like an alarm clock with Mario Brothers. Someone put Doom on that. I've seen it on a calculator. I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah,
Apple Watch.
Apple Watch. Yeah.
I'm sure it's out there.
Soon to be on Roku. I think, is Microsoft usually the one that pushes the boundary with these kind of things? Like, to compare it to like phones, like Apple is the one that's always pushing the boundary with shit, and other companies follow suit. Is Microsoft the one that historically pushes the boundary?
I don't think so. It's really tough because I don't really think there's been much innovation in terms of just console gaming, honestly.
I mean, the hardware gets better, but that's
the hardware gets better. That's true, but like, really, if you look at the histories of each of these three companies, I mean, Nintendo has changed the most. They've gone from the NES all the way up to the GameCube, then the Wii. Now we have the Switch, like the most portable out of any other console we've had. Which
That's
is
exactly what I was going to say.
It's genius, I think.
Nintendo
innovates, and then everyone else is playing catch up. Like, that's 100%. I mean, like, they came out with VR first with the Virtual Boy. They did the motion controls first with the Wii, and then Sony did the Move, and Microsoft did the Kinect. They're doing the Portal. Like, in terms of hardware, they're always the ones to innovate when it comes to games.
They just don't have the power of Microsoft.
Right.
Yeah.
But because they don't care about, we have the newest processor, we have the, whatever. Their biggest thing is games, which right now they have a severe lack of, and it's really quite a bummer seeing their lineup for the rest of this year and the first quarter of next year. It sucks, and I'm really disappointed in them, honestly. Like, they're usually the ones to push the boundaries, and they're not doing that shit at all.
Well, I guess to tie it up, I think the answer to Joey's question, at least for me, is after hearing all your points, is until cloud gaming is as easy as a console, consoles are here to stay.
I agree. VR is also the future. That is going to happen much more.
It's a subset.
Yeah. Well, no, it's going to happen much sooner though, like, than cloud gaming. VR it's going to be much more soon that you see VR that's actually really, really good and stable and affordable.
I think cloud gaming will take over. I don't think VR will take over. I think VR will happen first, but I don't think it's going to take over.
I think we need a whole episode about VR, because I have a lot of thoughts about it after I bought one.
Oh, you have one?
Oh, you have one. That's interesting.
I bought a Quest a couple months ago.
All right, when all this is
a pandemic toy, so
when all this is over, I'm coming over. We're playing that. Chris and I had a lot of fun with the Quest the first time. I think we talked about that on it was an HTC Vive, I think, but we had a lot.
It was a Vive, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're probably at a little over the time now, right?
Like 15 minutes, I think.
15 minutes? Okay.
If I didn't have the time right last episode, I don't know what we're at now.
It's fine.
I think we're 15 over.
Yeah, let's get a time as any to wrap it up. I think we can call it quits here. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. We really appreciate it. Just make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what we can be doing better. Let us know stuff you want to see in the future. Again, really appreciate the last episode. I don't know what happened. There's a lot more engagement, so keep it up, and we really hope to be making the best possible content for you guys. And I want to thank Joey for being on the podcast again, our first recurring cast member, if you will. So I really appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. This is a lot of fun.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Adios.
Bye.